News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
It was a busy day yesterday for Western Montana firefighters. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Monday, October the 6th, 2014. Yes, we are rocketing through the year here at 2014. Our newscast this morning, sponsored by Temp-Rite Service. Got any plumbing or heating problems? Still might need air conditioning? Call 728-1111. Frenchtown Fire Department crews got some real-life training on attacking a wildland fire yesterday. Public Information Officer Mel Holtz told me that crews were training at Frenchtown High School when they received a call about a fire burning nearby.
Once crews got up in the area by the false course here up Roman Creek, did find fire approximately acre to acre half. It did make an uphill run. It is in some steep terrain. And again, we've got crews working on trying to contain that, get line all the way around that.
Holtz says the cause of the fire is under investigation since there's been no lightning in the area for quite some time. Holtz says no property or structures were damaged and no injuries had been reported from that fire. Missoula Rural Fire responded to a single-family residence structure fire just after 7:30 yesterday morning over on Thayer Road just outside Lolo. Acting Fire Chief Mike Bowman describes what happened when the first crews arrived at the scene.
The first arriving unit reported heavy smoke coming from the eaves of the structure. All the people were out by the time first units arrived.
Bowman says a neighbor came over and pounded on the door until everyone woke up and got them out of the house because smoke was coming out of the top of the house. Bowman says there were 14 firefighters from two different agencies at the fire.
We had battalion chiefs, we had two Type 1 engines, two water tenders from the Missoula Rural Fire District, and a mutual aid water tender from Florence Fire.
As of noon yesterday, fire investigators were still on the scene, working to determine the origin and cause of the fire. Bowman says the Red Cross was contacted to assist the residents because the house was uninhabitable due to smoke and water damage. Gallatin County leads the state in registered medical marijuana providers and cardholders. According to data compiled by the Montana Department of Health and Human Services, Gallatin County had 1,711 cardholders as of August 5th. Flathead County follows with 1,072, then Missoula County with 861. A Missoula man, 39-year-old Jake Reynolds, is in the Missoula County Jail after a knife attack that occurred Friday night in the 200 block of South Russell. Sergeant Mike Hebert with the Missoula Police Department has more.
And on arriving, found two people wounded, a 39-year-old Missoula male and a 17-year-old Missoula male. Both suffered non-life-threatening wounds, both treated at the hospital. On further investigation, the 39-year-old male was arrested for assault with a weapon.
Jail records indicate 39-year-old Jacob David Reynolds was in the facility as of Saturday afternoon, charged with felony assault with a weapon. Bond was set at $50,000. Reynolds will appear in Missoula Justice Court today. Newly released toxicology reports show that one of the drivers in a collision that killed 6 people had methamphetamine in his systems, but investigators don't believe the drug was a factor in the crash. Matthew Bogley was driving Crystal Ross and their 3 children when Three Forks Fire Chief Todd Rummel lost control of his fire engine and veered into the family's path June 19th on Highway 12 outside Helena. Investigators concluded mechanical failure was the cause of that crash. KGVO News published a story last week about Rocky Mountain Labs in Hamilton and its relationship with Missoula's St. Patrick Hospital regarding treatment of patients who may present with the Ebola virus. Infection Control Coordinator and registered nurse Pamela Whitney says the staff at Community Medical Center has also been trained and prepared to treat any patients who may be infected with the Ebola virus or any highly communicable disease.
Here at Community, we're able to, we know how to institute contact precautions. Our staff know how to put on gowns, wear gloves, wear a mask if needed, if the patient is coughing up blood and they need to protect themselves.
Whitney says Community has several specially designed rooms that can handle any serious infectious disease.
If Ebola were to escalate, were to mutate, or they were to find out that it's airborne, we have 10 negative pressure rooms, which are rooms set up with the negative pressure. This is what we use for our tuberculosis cases.
Whitney says she was confident that the disease would not spread once the patient was safely admitted to the hospital. The National Institutes of Health has awarded Montana State University a $5.5 million research grant on emerging diseases to research emerging diseases that originate in animals and are transferred to humans, such as Ebola. Professor of Pharmacology Mark Quinn told the Bozeman Daily Chronicle that scientists are trying to understand the biology behind the diseases and how human bodies fight them. He says up to 80% of emerging infections can transfer between humans and animals. After a very close encounter between two 6-year-old boys and a black bear in the Ranch Club neighborhood last Thursday, now, Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks has investigated to see if the bear posed a threat. Spokeswoman Vivica Krauser says the initial investigation has shown little need for alarm.
Likely in this situation, it's just a bear this time of year that's moving around, pretty active, looking for food, looking for those berries and other food sources to stock up for winter. And so this is the time of year where those calls and reports of seeing bears around neighborhoods does tend to pick up.
Krauser says that the bears are most often seen in the Rattlesnake and Grant Creek areas, but they do turn up south of town and further west. If a bear shows aggression or hangs around an area for a long time, she says the bear will be removed.
If the bear keeps hanging around an area, then what we look at is setting a trap and relocating the bear somewhere far away from the neighborhood. In this case, we haven't felt like we needed to do that, haven't seen the bear again, but again, if we start to get concentrated reports of the bear staying in the area, then that may be the next plan of action.
If you need to report a bear or a wild animal in your neighborhood, call 1-800-TIP-MONT. The Montana Revenue Department is nearing the end of an 18-stop road tour explaining some major effects of the state's property tax reappraisal process. Montana Revenue Director Mike Kadis says the state reappraises property once every 6 years, and it's a big deal because it can change people's property taxes. The Great Falls Tribune reports general changes in store include somewhat lower residential property market values statewide, higher agriculture and commercial property values, and big property value increases in the eastern counties. And finally, the U.S. Department of Agriculture says a Texas company is recalling nearly 91,000 pounds of ground beef products that might be contaminated with pieces of metal. Corpus Christi-based Sam Kane Beef Processors is recalling the beef products after 4 consumer complaints that were received about pieces of metal approximately 3 millimeters in size being found. The packages were produced between September 9th of 2014 and September 18th of 2014. Our news talk time now is 6:10.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly sunny skies and pleasant today. Highs will top out right around 70. Winds will be out of the west at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Mostly clear tonight, lows in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13, your first alert station.